talking SEC baseball. We're in the final weekend series before conference play really heats up. Not a lot of great games this weekend, I'll be honest, for the SEC. So I'm going to take some time tonight to talk about what I want to see from teams as they prepare for conference baseball just 1 week away. So I'm going to get started with the LSU Tigers. You know, been a little bit of a challenging week for the Tigers here. They've lost 3 games in the last 9 days. The bats have not been where LSU fans want them to be, but LSU fans need to understand we are only in the month of early March right now, and the Tigers are still hitting 304 as a team. What I want to see from the Tigers this weekend, I would love to see the bats come alive a little bit more. But what I want to see even more than that is less mental mistakes and errors during a baseball game. You look at the game Monday, three or four errors. You look at the game last night, 3 errors. So I want to see LSU eliminate these mental mistakes. They're still hitting a lot of balls hard, so the bats don't concern me nearly as much as some people I talk to on a daily basis. But I want to see the mental mistakes get cut out this weekend. And if there's a coach to get his team refocused, it is Jay Johnson. The guy has won 2 of the last 3 national championships, so he knows what he's doing. I am not questioning his plan and his path for this baseball team by any means. But I know he wants to see this team clean up some of the mental mistakes too. I'd like to see some other guys get some opportunities this weekend as well. Want to give a quick shout out to a guy by the name Eddie Yaman. Came in a relief role to play some first base on Monday. Went 2 for 3 with a home run as the Tigers tried to climb back and just ran out of innings in that one. So sweet, since we all know LSU baseball a lot. Any thoughts on LSU this weekend? They are playing Sacramento State, so anything you want to see from the Tigers this weekend?
Yeah, I'm with you. Just the mental things. It looks like these guys have hit their they're already ready for spring breakers. They're not hitting all cylinders yet, but late March, if we're still looking like this, early April, there's cause for concern. But right now, he's certainly earned March three last national champion the right to do that. Listen, he's won 2 out. It's going to be okay. Next, we'll go ahead and jump into Florida Gator baseball. Florida is on a 13-game win streak, 13-1, ranked 9th in the country. Big wins over in-state teams this week with for Florida A&M last night, and then they got a 3-game set with High Point this weekend. Florida is looking good. Lawson got Player of the Week honors for the first time in his career. Hit 571 on the week with 12 RBIs. The bullpen is getting more stable. Freshman Josh Rittenauer has been fantastic out of them. And the 13-game win streak is their longest since 2020 when they started off 16-0. So Florida's doing some good things right now, hitting the ball. And O'Sullivan, he'll have them where they need to be come SEC time. For Florida, it's just a matter of being consistent. They've done that so far, and they're always there. They're always there. Any thoughts on Florida?
Yeah, one thing I want to see from Florida, they have started to hit the ball really well. Lawson had a huge week, like you mentioned. I want to see their middle relief pitching pitch a little bit better. They did pitch well against Miami last weekend, and their ace, Liam Peterson, has really bounced back well after a struggle in his first game. But I want to see this Gators team get a little bit more out of the bullpen heading into SEC play a week away. So that's going to take us over to the Missouri Tigers. And this team has really been firing on all cylinders. They're 10-2 on the year. Um, they are hitting the ball extremely well. They have let's see, a 326 batting average and a team ERA of 3.45. And for those of you listening who don't remember Missouri baseball last year, their team ERA was around an 8.5 this time last season in their non-conference slate. So, pitching coach Drew Dickinson has been doing a phenomenal job with this Missouri pitching staff. They are playing really good baseball. You've got a guy like Tyler Macon who's hitting 490 on the season right now. You got Cam Durnan, their shortstop, who made his season debut this year. Caden Peer at center field making his debut. He started 2 for 2 tonight. My biggest complaint would be outside of a few leaders like Tyler Macon and Jace Wyota, and I'll throw Eric Mason in there and Isaiah Frost, the talented freshman. I want to see a little bit more from the other hitters on the team. Mateo Cerna, a guy who's coming back, led their team in returning home runs a year ago. He's hitting a hair under 220 right now. And they've got a few other guys in that 200 range. So I want to see those guys have a good weekend this weekend and really build upon their hot start to the season. They've got a chance to be 14-2, or I think 15-2 heading into SEC play next weekend, which would put them in a really good position to start the season. They were below 500 last year heading into SEC play. And I want to see, their pitching staff's been good. The starters have looked really electric for them. I do want to see a little bit more out of their bullpen as well. Outside of Ian Los, who's been their closer and he's pitching a couple games a weekend. They haven't gotten as much out of the bullpen as they'd like. So I'd love to see that bullpen get clicking a little bit more. Any thoughts on Missouri, Sweets?
Yeah, listen, their starters, Pimentel, McDevitt, and Kellenbrink have been unbelievable. They're 7-0 to start the year with a 2.95 combined ERA, 73 strikeouts, over 61 total innings. You can't ask for any better than that. As far as hitting goes, Macon leads the country in RBIs with 20, which is unbelievable this early in the year. A little inconsistent behind the plate with Cerna. He's hitting around 200, as you said earlier. I think through the infield, they need a little bit more, out of the to look forward to, and a little bit more help with their midweek starters. Not as consistent as the weekend guys, but since last year. So that's Mizzou baseball. That'll take us to good stuff for Mississippi, really tough for Mississippi State, who's number challenging week next week. Dropped a close one to number one UCLA, 7, another one to 8-7 to UCLA, and then 7-6 to number 10 Southern Miss the other night. So, but Mississippi State's been fantastic so far this year. Reed Stallman's had a couple bombs and for UCLA. Ace Reese, preseason All-Americans, hitting 514 with 3 home runs and 15 RBIs. Reed Stallman at first base again, 2 bombs against UCLA, and then 3 for 4 against Southern Miss, doing a fantastic job. The pitching staff is been solid. I think, again, middle relief is a big thing with Mississippi State, but they've been consistent so far this year, and 11-2, and they're a couple of runs away from being totally undefeated and the number 1 team in the nation. So really, really excited to watch them, because there's somebody who's going to watch them through Mississippi. DMAC?
Yeah, so Mississippi State baseball, 2 tough losses. Sorry, Sweet, my screen may be a little delayed. You cut out there at the end on me. But yeah,
That's okay.
Mississippi State, 2 great games this week that they weren't able to win. That UCLA game was one for the ages, probably the best college baseball game of the season so far. And that Southern Miss game was a heck of a game. They are hitting at an extremely high level. I think they're hitting 343 on the season as a team. Man, it's tough to nitpick. I would go, maybe a Sunday starter for them, and then some bullpen action would be their biggest weakness. Duke Stone, a guy who's likely going to start this week. I would really like to see him have a more complete outing on Sunday. Or actually, he'll probably throw Saturday because they're playing Thursday through Sunday. So he'll probably be in a Saturday role. And then, yeah, I'd like to see maybe Ben Davis be a little more productive on the mound. Those are 2 guys who I had high hopes for coming into the season, and it's still early, so I'm not that worried about them. But if I had to nitpick something with this team, it would probably be that. I just want to see a little bit more out of their bullpen and their number 3 starter. So that's going to take us to South Carolina baseball. And this is one that I may have a few more thoughts on than some of the other teams. So South Carolina is playing, let's see, I don't think they play a game until Saturday, if I'm remembering this correctly. Yeah, they are playing Princeton this weekend. So this South Carolina team is 15th in the SEC in batting average, but they are 7th in team ERA. So I like what they're able to do on the mound. They got a Friday night win against Clemson this past week. Huge game for Josh Gunther. Went 7 innings, pitched really well for them. Amp Phillips has been a solid Saturday guy. Riley Goodman's a guy with some potential, as well as Brandon Stone. This is a team, though, I'm a little bit more worried about on the hitting side. Even though it's early, they have struck out a lot as a team this season. They have, let me see, they have struck out 99 times, which compared to, I'm going to use Texas, and actually I'm going to use Missouri because they've struck out the least. Missouri's only struck out 71 times. So I think that's a reason they've been able to be as efficient as they are to start this season. But Carolina's got to start to get good contact on the ball from the plate. You can't strike out 100 times and still only hit in the 260s. So they need to step that up. And then I want to see a little bit more out of their entire pitching staff. Terry Rooney's a guy I like a lot, who's their pitching coach. I want to see this staff take the next level a little bit. I know they did just lose Reese Moore this week to an injury. He's out for the season behind the plate and at DH. They lost Jake McCoy before the season started. So this is a team that was already banged up. And you don't want to see a team like this who's sitting at 9-5 right now going into SEC play without it figured out a little bit more. Any thoughts on Carolina Sweets?
Yeah, the injury bug is really hurt Paul Mainieri over in Columbia. But you know he's recruited okay, and he's got some guys who will step up and get in there. Hopefully they'll be able to perform for him. Will Craddock as a freshman has just been fantastic so far. It's a three game set against Princeton. They should be able to sweep this series. And I'm sure that Coach Maine is going to get some of these younger guys in there to see what they can do. He has to. He doesn't have a choice because the injury bug is just, he has put him in that position right now. I think the biggest thing that I want to see out of them too is more hitting. I mean, they're just, you got to put the bat on the ball, especially with men on base. I had it up earlier. Their hitting with man on base has been atrocious so far, so they need to step up in that area as well. Next, we'll go ahead and we'll go to Georgia baseball. Number 8 Georgia is 11-3, and they got a weekend set against the Queens University of Charlotte. Have not heard of Queens University of Charlotte, but it's a team that Georgia should be able to handle. Georgia's been hitting the ball okay this year. They struggled the first weekend. A lot of people got excited, but up and down the lineup right now, they're pounding the ball. Henry Allen's hitting 484 with 4 bombs and 16 ribs. Trey Phelps is hitting 465 with 5 bombs and 15 ribs. Daniel Jackson, 9 home runs, 20 RBIs, hitting 375. Brendan Hudson, 364 with 6 home runs and 13 ribs. So Georgia's hitting the ball really well. I think their biggest thing is in getting some out of their starters, middle relief, and bullpen. I think Georgia's pitching is their biggest weak point, and we're going to see how they're able to come along. Kay Naoki is going to go this weekend with Dylan Veig and Joey Volchko. So we'll see how they're able to do against Queens College. I don't anticipate they should have much trouble with them. They just want to see more consistency out of the bullpen. What are your thoughts on Georgia, DMAC?
Yeah, I'm with you on this one too. Georgia's leading the SEC in team batting average at 352, 43 home runs this year already. So the power's back. Wes Johnson, pitching coach at LSU a couple years ago, moves on to be the head coach of Georgia. They've been super consistent, but they are 11th in team ERA right now with a 3.41. Their starters have been good, but haven't gone as long as, I'm sure the Bulldog fans would like them to go. So if I'm gonna nitpick, I'm gonna go with their pitching staff too. Just want to see it cleaned up a little bit. But man, shout out to Daniel Jackson with 10 home runs on the year already. I remember watching him in the Chapel Hill Regional a couple years ago when he was playing for Wofford, playing against LSU and UNC. That kid was so good then. Transferred to Georgia, was a little bit more of a part-time player last year, and man, has he really grown into a potential SEC Player of the Year type of player through 6 weeks of the season. So really, really excited to see what this Bulldogs team can do. So I'm going to move over to Alabama baseball now. Alabama is, I believe, still 11-3, and they are playing North Florida this weekend, who is 8-6. Alabama's hitting 261 at the plate. Team average is the lowest in the SEC right now, and their pitching is 4.22 ERA, low or worst in the SEC as well. So, Bama has a few things to figure out. Brady Neal is still leading this team with a 366 batting average, 3 homers, 14 RBIs. Justin LeBron's hitting 314, 8 home runs, 18 RBIs. John Lim, who's playing some DH and catcher, he's hitting 313 with a home run and 6 RBIs. Also with Justin LeBron, he's also swiped 12 bases this season. But outside of those three guys, nobody else is hitting over 300. So for this team to make a run, they're going to need some more bats to come alive. A guy like Jason Torres, who has a lot of power, and Luke Vaughn, who started to have things click. They need those guys to continue to step up. From a pitching standpoint, Miles Upchurch, the freshman, has been impressive. 3 starts, a 1.42 ERA. I want to see a lot more out of the other two starters, your Friday, Saturday guy, and I want to see a lot more out of their bullpen. They have not had an overly difficult schedule. They did play a team like Oregon State, but they've got to get things clicking on the mound for sure here pretty soon. Any thoughts on Alabama, Sweets?
Yeah, their hitting has been rough so far this year. The one place where they've shined, though, they've been swiping a lot of bags. They had a 9 the other night against Alabama State, combined with 7 hit by pitches. You're not going to win many games hitting 7 guys and giving up that many bases. But yeah, Alabama's Rob Vaughn's got to get these guys putting the bat on the ball. Other than the guys that you mentioned, LeBron, one of the leading candidates for the. There are only a few of them. Then after that, it really drops off. So, want to see more consistency out of their bats. That their pitching is struggling as well, but the bats have been really bad so far. So that's something that they certainly need to work on. Next, we'll jump into the University of Tennessee baseball. Tennessee's 10-3. They ended the week on a 4-game win streak after big wins over ETSU and Oakland. They're ranked 17th in the country right now, and they're getting ready for their final non-conference weekend series against Wright State before SEC play begins next week. The pitching staff has done well. They combined 15 Ks against Oakland last night, and Henry Ford hit a 406-foot moonshot to beat ETSU on Tuesday night. So Tennessee's coming around and hitting the ball a little better, which Elander is. I'm sure he's very excited about. He's hearing a little heat up there as trying to replace a legend like Vitello. So it's going to be rough for him if he doesn't get these guys hitting the ball better. As far as their pitching goes, see out of all of them, top to bottom. And I'd like to see Tennessee be a little more aggressive on the base paths too. Not as aggressive as they've been in the past. I don't know if that's was more of a Vitello thing or Elander isn't as big on that, but Tennessee's going to be fine. They've got a lot of talent up there. Had to replace a lot of talent after Vitello left, but they've got the rise. I think it's just the guys in the right spot, getting them a little more time on the field. Any thoughts?
Yeah, this is a Tennessee team that's hitting 278 as a team. They do have Blake Grimmer back and Garrett White. They both played in this last game and both hit well. Grimmer was 3 for 4. Garrett Wright was 2 for 3. But they need production in this lineup. I am gonna call a few guys out by name here. You look at like Levi Clark and Tyler Myatt, and I'm just those will be the two I mentioned here who are hitting below 250 on the season. Levi Clark's a guy who hit 10 plus home runs as a freshman last year. So they're going to need these guys to be a little better at the plate. They've also combined for 20 strikeouts to just 10 walks on the year. So you want to see those two guys cut that back a little bit as well. But for all the struggles that Tennessee has had early this season, they found a way to win games. And that still matters a lot. So I'm excited to see what this Tennessee team can do. Once they get the hitting to click a little bit more, this is one of the more dangerous pitching staffs they've had in a few years. Coons is an absolute stud. So really excited to see what they can do. So now over to another team in the state of Alabama. I'm going to talk a little Auburn baseball. They are 10-2 this season, and they are playing Winthrop this weekend, who is also 10-2. So I'm going to give Auburn the most challenging weekend series this weekend. So they're hitting 304 at the plate, and they have a team ERA of 3.14. You look at their Friday night guy, Jake Marciano, 1.6 ERA through 16 innings in 3 games. He struck out 29 batters and has not given up a walk yet. You look at Jackson Sanders, who struggled a little bit this weekend. Alex Petrovic has been well. Andreas Alvarez looked good in his most recent start. And then, you've got guys like Christian Chatterton, who still hasn't fully clicked out of the bullpen. You've got Drew Whalen, who's pitching really well out of the bullpen. So I do want to see their bullpen give them a little bit more this week. And I want to see some guys who aren't at the top of the lineup hit. You've got, leadoff batter Bristol Carter playing center field. He's hitting 421 and he's got 10 stolen bases. We're only starting 10 of the 12 games this year. You've got Bub Terrell hitting 340 with a couple home runs. Chase Fralick is hitting over 400. But I want to see some of these guys in the bottom part of this lineup really get things clicking. Chris Rembert's now back. He should start to play in the field again this weekend. So want to see what he can do now that he's back. He was a first team all SEC guy coming into the season. Got banged up a little bit, but yeah, my biggest worry is, the bullpen and maybe the Saturday starter for this Auburn team. What are your thoughts, Sweets?
Yeah, I've been watching their freshmen have been fantastic. Brandon McCrane is leading the team, hitting 533 with a 1.301 OPS, and he's reached base in every game except one. He's reached base in. Mason McCrane has earned back-to-back SEC Freshman of the Week honors, and he leads the team with he's got 10 RBIs and just 21 at bats. So, these guys got a lot of young on this team, and I think they're going to just grow as the season goes along. And Auburn's going to be there at the end of the year too. This SEC baseball slate is a bear. You're going to see a lot of teams with 15 plus in conference losses that will be in regionals come late May and June, because there's that much talent there. Next, we'll go ahead and go to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's struggled early. They're 8-6. They recently snapped a 4-game losing streak against Troy. Beat Troy 4-1 last night. They're in the midst of a 10-game homestand, so this is a good time for Corbin to get the Commodores back on track and get them going. They got a 3-game set against North Dakota State this weekend. North Dakota State's not a bad program, so Vanderbilt's going to need to show up this weekend. Brandon Holcomb, who's the reigning SEC Player of the Week, leads the team with 7 home runs, and he's got a 5-game hitting streak going. Brody Johnston has 6 bombs and leads the team with a 1.343 OPS. Recently, Riker White, shortstop, was named to the Brooks Wallace Award watch list for the nation's top shortstop. He's got a 1.13 OPS. And, I think that Vanderbilt just needs to get some consistent pitching. Austin Nye has been fantastic. but and Connor Fennell, who's everybody's everything. After that, though, they've really struggled. They really need to find some more consistency, not only out of their starters, but middle relief in the pen as well. Corbin's got to get that fixed. They entered the season a top 20 team, and now they're barely above 500. So I think just more consistency, top to bottom, out of the rotation, and and getting the bottom of the lineup bats to come alive. They get that fine. They'll be fine come SEC play. I don't expect Vanderbilt to continue to struggle. It's just it's early March. I'm not overly worried. Thoughts?
Yeah, seeing this Vandy team and with the 14th best ERA in the SEC is very unusual for Vandy baseball. Austin Nye, a guy who has pitched really well, only went 1 inning last weekend, and left with bicep soreness. It's unclear if he's going to pitch this weekend or not. So if they're replacing Austin Nye in that Saturday role, they'll likely move somebody up and then have to fill Sunday. So that would be my question mark, is how much time is Austin Nye going to have to miss? And who is going to be the guy who steps up for this Vandy baseball team from a pitching standpoint? I look at their bats, they're eighth in the SEC, so middle of the pack, hitting 310. Not worried there. But I do want to see, outside of a Friday night pitcher, who steps up this weekend and who steps up in the bullpen heading to SEC play. So that's going to take us to the Oklahoma Sooners here. They're sitting at 11-2, hitting 313 as a team with a 3.38 ERA. I really like this weekend rotation they have with Cam Johnson, LJ Mercurius, and Cord Rager right now. I do want to see a little bit more out of their bullpen. But these are all pitchers who can go 6+ innings. So they won't need as much to fully step up. At the plate, Desan Harris, Dayton, Lashney, Camden Johnson, Trey Gamble, Brendan Brock, Jackson Willits, and Nolan Stevens are all hitting over 300. You look at Jackson Willits, he's got 16 RBIs, leads the team right now. He's the shortstop and leader of this team. I do want to see a few of the other guys get in the mix who are hitting below 300, and have a productive weekend heading into SEC play. Right now, Oklahoma is my surprise team of the season right now. They are playing really good baseball. Open the season up over in the Shriners Classic, where they beat TCU, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech. Went 3-0 that weekend and have really hit the ground running. Lost a midweek game last week, but they're looking like a really complete baseball team right now. Any thoughts on Oklahoma, Sweets?
Yeah, I've been impressed with their pitching. Freshman standout Cord Rager was fantastic in his debut against TCU. He had 8 Ks in 5 innings, only gave up 1 run against 10th ranked TCU. Transfer LJ Mercurius had a 1-hit, 7 inning complete game. Win with 9 strikeouts over Gonzaga. So they've got a lot of pitching depth. In a recent midweek game against Dallas Baptist, they used 8 different pitchers and won the game. So a lot of versatility, a lot of guys that they're not afraid to put in spots and get out. So Oklahoma's been a surprise, and I still am a little bit jaded on them, but you and Kevin have been right so far. They've been fantastic, hitting the hell out of the ball, and everything's been really consistent. That'll take us to Texas A&M. I beg your pardon. The Aggies have been great this year, ranked 22nd in the country. They're 11-1. and have looked great so far. Beat Incarnate Word the other night, 11-1 in 7 innings. Jake Durr went 3 for 3 with a home run and 3 RBIs, and Juan Vargas got his first win of the year. He retired all 9 guys he faced over 3 innings, and you can't pitch any better than that. They had a few rainouts that got moved around with Oakland, so this weekend they may have to have a doubleheader, but they'll work that out. A bunch of former Aggies were selected to the 2026 Major League Spring Breakout rosters. So I know that they're talking big about that down in College Station. So far, Caden Sorrell hit 395, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs. Jake Dorr is 432 with 3 bombs. Got a 7-game hitting streak right now. And Gavin Grahovic is had a couple RBIs the other night in their big win. Texas A&M is, like I said, they've only lost the 1 game, been very consistent, haven't had the toughest schedule so far. We'll see how they do once SEC plays opens up. But they're excited down there in College Station about their baseball team right now. DMAC?
Yeah, what impresses me the most is they've got a freshman starting at third and a freshman starting at shortstop. So the entire left side of their infield is our freshmen. They're going through some growing pains, but sitting at 11-1 right now. This is a really dangerous team. If I've really got a nitpick, man, I'm gonna go. I guess I want to see, and this is gonna sound crazy. Their starting pitchers look a little more crisp this weekend, which is crazy to say with Aiden Sims and Shane Soda both at under a 2.0 ERA, with 38 combined strikeouts to 6 walks. But their midweek starter and their Sunday starter would love to see a little bit more out of those guys. Outside of this looks like a really strong team for A&M this year. So that would be my only little bit of concern if I've really got a nitpick. So that's going to bring us to a little Razorback baseball. Arkansas's 10-3 on the year right now. They are playing. Oh, who are they playing this weekend? Because I don't have my notes right in front of me. They are playing Stetson. Yeah, Stetson this weekend. Arkansas is got a 285 batting average, which is 13th in the SEC right now. And they have a team ERA of 2.76. So pitching staff has looked really good. You've got a guy like Colin Fisher, who's their Sunday guy, who has yet to give up an earned run. Hunter Dietz had a really good bounce back game this week. Went 7 innings, I believe. Struck out a bunch of people. Gabe Gackle has looked good. Cole Gibbler, one of their leading bullpen guys, has under a 1 ERA. He struck out 13 through 11. So, man, if I'm really gonna nitpick, I'm gonna go to the batting side here. You've got Aloy who's hitting 386 with 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. Cam Kozel leading the way with 6 home runs, 17 RBIs. He's hitting 370. Ryder Helfrich with 5 home runs and 9 RBIs, hitting 356. Damian Ruiz hitting 355 with 3 bombs, 11 RBIs. After that, there is quite a downtick. Robinette's also hitting over 300, but once you move on from him, it's all guys hitting under 270. So want to see those guys get a little more productive. Ryder Helfrich, who's hitting very close to the top of the lineup. Would love to see some of these guys in the bottom half get on base. with his skill set so that he can produce some more RBIs this year. But again, not that worried about Arkansas, especially this early in the season. If they're still hitting, 280 come May, there may be a little concern. But if their pitching staff stays as dynamite as it's been, no cause for worry there. Any thoughts on Arkansas, Sweets?
Yeah, the pitching has been fantastic. The starters, their big three have a 1.69 ERA. The bullpen has a 2.64 ERA, so they've been fantastic. They started off a little rough at 6-3, but they're on a 4-game win streak now. They're looking like they're starting to come around a little bit. The bats are starting to wake up. Again, a little concern there because they expect a little more than that even this early in the year. But I think Arkansas is going to be fine. And Stetson's a good ball club, though. I don't expect Arkansas to sweep Stetson. Stetson's got some good ball players down there, so don't be surprised if Stetson gets a game this weekend against Arkansas. That'll take us to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 12-2 on the year, and currently have one of the top pitching staffs in the country. They've got 145 Ks on the season, so absolutely fantastic. They beat Memphis 7-1 the other night in North Alabama, 8-5 last night. So there's 2-0 on the week. Third baseman Judd Utermark leads the team with 8 home runs. He had 5 ribs against Memphis, and he's second in the SEC with 20 runs scored this season. Catcher DH Colin Reuter is hitting 463 with 8 doubles. Dom Decker leads the SEC with 18 walks and has a 529 on-base percentage. And Grayson Gibson earned the first win of the season for himself, going 4 strong in relief, 4 innings of hitless relief against Memphis and got the win. Ole Miss is 10-0 when scoring first, so the key for them is jumping out and getting runs early. And they've been fantastic early in games so far. Innings 1 through 3 this year, they're outscoring their opponents 59-18. So Ole Miss has been doing a fantastic job of getting out early and jumping on teams, and making teams play from behind and pitch from behind. And that's not a place where you want to be against a good hitting lineup. I just want to see a little bit more consistent pitching out of Ole Miss. They're hitting the ball well on the back end. Like I said, with the strikeouts, they've been fantastic. Just a little more consistency on the back end, and we'll see how they do in SEC play. DMAC?
Yeah, I want to see this Ole Miss team have their starting weekend rotation go a little bit longer into games. You look at Cade Townsend, who's been really good. He started 3 games. He's only gone 13 and 2/3. Has given up 1 earned run. You look at Will Libert. He's started 3 games, gone 14 and 2/3. Same with Hunter Elliott. So I want to see Cade Townsend and the rest of the weekend rotation be extended a little bit. Would love to see those guys go 6 innings this weekend because they're going to need to go longer in SEC play. You often see, even when bullpens are good, when they're playing in the SEC, they get rocked around a little bit. So I want to see these guys go just a little bit deeper. So that is going to take me to the University of Kentucky, and they are hitting 292 on the season with a team ERA of 2.84. Jackson Jelkin, their Friday night guy, has looked great. 16 and 1/3, 1 earned run, 25 punch outs. Nate Harris has gone 15 innings through 3 starts with 21 punch outs and only 3 earned runs. Ben Cleaver has started 3 games, has only given up 1 earned run, but has only gone 11 innings in those starts. So want to see little bit more depth from Ben Cleaver this weekend. and I want to see their bats come alive a little bit more. They only have four guys hitting over 300 in Hudson Brown, Jace Thurnish, Tyler Cerny, who has missed a few games here lately, and Luke Lawrence. Tyler Bell did get the all clear to hit again this upcoming weekend. So if they can have him back at shortstop, come SEC play, that's going to be really big for them. One thing that this team is really good at, though, is stealing bases. They've swiped 49 bases so far this year, sitting at 11-2, and they're playing the Citadel this weekend. So I expect a sweep for them, along with a lot of stolen bases. It would not surprise me if that stolen base number is sitting around 65 after this one. Any thoughts on Kentucky, Sweets?
Mingione loves to get him on and get him over. Get on first base and we'll get you around. He speaking of Mingione, he got his 304th career win recently, which puts him at number 2 all time in Kentucky baseball. And if he stays there long enough, he's certainly going to pass that. He's a fantastic coach. He had a great midweek home and home against EKU, where they outscored them 18-4 over the 2 games. There's had an RBI in the two game set. They'll open the season next week against Alabama. So a good team to open with. Alabama hasn't been the most consistent team so far this season either, though. Ethan Hindle, infield Ethan Hindle, has 12 hits on the season. 10 of those has gone for extra bases, and he got 4 RBIs against EKU this week. Luke Lawrence recently had an inside the park home run and scored 3 runs and stole 2 bases against EKU the other night. And Scott Campbell Jr. got a grand slam, their second of the season, and had 4 ribs against EKU. So they're hitting the ball better. You certainly want to see a little more consistency at the bottom of the lineup and the pitching and stuff. But like I said, if they could get those guys over, Mingione likes guys who will take walks and get on base because he loves to steal. So if they can keep that consistency going, they're going to be a tough out in SEC play too. Looking forward to it. DMAC.
Yeah, that's going to bring us to the last team of the night. That's the Texas Longhorns, sitting at 12-0 right now. They are playing. Geez, I did not. They're playing USC Upstate this weekend. They're hitting 339 as a team, which puts them at number 4 in the SEC batting average, a 1.71 team ERA, good for first in the SEC right now. So, you look at this weekend rotation of Ruger Riojas, Dylan Valantis, and Luke Harrison, has combined for 55, 65 punch outs. You throw in Sam Cozart, who's started a few midweek games. He's looked really good. Ruger leads the way as their Friday night guy. 16 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs, 30 punch outs so far. So averaging 10 punch outs a game. As a team, 132 strikeouts. So this is a pitching staff that's pitching really well. They've used, let's see, about nine guys, or actually 11 guys in relief. What I want to see this weekend is they've been pulling some of their starters around the 75, 80 pitch count. So I would love to see their weekend rotation push that 90, 95 pitch count that they'll be hitting in SEC play. If I've got to complain about the bats, I mean, they've only hit 17 home runs, so maybe a little bit more power from this Longhorn team. But, both of those are really nitpicky. I mean, they're top 4 in batting average, leading the league in ERA. The biggest surprise to me would probably be Ruger Riojas being their Friday night guy. He's absolutely dominated in that role. but he was not talked about preseason as being in the rotation, much less as the Friday night guy. He's really worked hard. You know, he was sitting in that 92 to 94 range. He's up in that 96, 98 range this year as a senior, and is, you know, the off speed stuff looks phenomenal as well. So he's off to a really good season. And, you know, this Longhorns team right now to me looks like the most complete team in all of college baseball. And that includes UCLA for me right now. What are your thoughts on Texas, Kevin? I mean, Sweets. Sorry.
To- Man, he just called me Kevin. Jesus. That's all right. I've been called worse. Now the biggest surprise for me is Riojas maintaining his Friday starting position. I mean, Volantis is going to be the best Sunday starter in the history of NCAA baseball. He's 2-0 with a .48 ERA, coming off his freshman of the year performance last year. So maintain consistency. They're going to kill the deal. I think they're the best team in the country by far. I think they'd, if not go 2-1 against UCLA, they'd sweep them. That's how solid Texas is right now. For them, it's just going to be a matter of keeping the train on the tracks and consistency. It's a long season. They'll hit a lull here and there. Just need to, when they do hit it, bounce back and make sure it doesn't stretch out too far for them. The other kid that's doing well for him is Notre Dame transfer Carson Tinney. He's a Buster Posey Award finalist. Who hits bombs and throws them out from behind the plate. So Texas is really strong right now, and if they're able to stay healthy, I don't know of a better team.
Yeah, so that's a wrap on SEC baseball. And since we're at 52 minutes live right now, we will just wrap up with some final thoughts. Sweets, I'll let you get started. Any final thoughts heading into the weekend here pretty soon?
Just consistency. You're in the third week now, so you need to have worked through a lot of the mental errors and stuff, especially LSU. We're talking to you. Play smart ball, runners, and do smart things. We'll see where teams are this weekend and how they look next week. I'll be interested in watching the first week of SEC ball. We'll start to separate the.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Last weekend a non-conference play here for the SEC. I cannot wait for SEC baseball conference play to start a week from now. Next week we will be dropping our rankings of where we think teams are heading into SEC baseball. We'll give our kind of power rankings heading into league play. And I am just so pumped up that it's baseball season full swing now. Nothing better from once the year starts until football season, in my opinion, than SEC baseball. So can't wait for that. So that is a wrap for Southern Sports Gumbo tonight. You had Sweets and DMAC tonight. We will see you guys soon. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll talk.